Thank you very much for the opportunity. Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon, depending on where you are. Let me, next slide. Lincoln, during the US Civil War, didn't let the Union dissolve and simply let slavery remain intact. Rather, he preserved it. Why was Abraham Lincoln doing this? Because it will be more beneficial to the people he was serving. Next slide. Yes, we all know Dr. Martin Luther King. He was the one championing the nonviolent approach as a civil rights movement leader. Why was he doing that, even though he believed that championing this civil rights would be difficult? He was doing all this because he knew it will ultimately be more beneficial to those he was serving. And next, Madam Teresa went so far as to refuse the usual banquet when she was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize and asked that the money that will be spent on it be donated to the poor. She did it because she cared more about how she helped others than about any recognition she could ever receive. Yes, let me take this opportunity to introduce my team members. Isaac Aisifu being the team leader, myself. Jacqueline Konadu Sapon, a researcher. Janet Ohimens Young, secretary. Juanita Nal Lamle Lamte, proofreader. Kamal Nuruddin, technical. Ken Kadra Hulate, member. What are some of the consequences or outcomes of leadership across multiple theories by comparing servant leadership with collaborative leadership in terms of their ability to provide good outcomes, such as trust? Now, let's look at the overview of leadership. We, Team Resilient, define leadership as the ability to influence others to achieve a common goal, a fundamental aspect of any organization. 3, a critical component of organizational success. Then the 4th one, it shapes the organization's culture, values, and performance. The next slide. Now, leadership style. We are looking at 2 leadership styles, but we are trying to bring out the common leadership style that we have. Visionary, servant, autocratic, laissez-faire, democratic, persistent, transformational, bureaucratic. These are the common leadership styles that we have, but we are focusing on servant and collaborative leadership. Now, what is collaborative leadership? Collaborative leadership is a style that emphasizes working together to achieve a common goal. Now, we want to look at the characteristics of collaborative leadership. In doing this, we are trying to compare traditional leadership versus collaborative leadership in order to showcase the characteristics. 1, traditional leaders believe power comes from their position of authority, whilst the collaborative leadership believe power is greatest in a collective team. Traditional leadership also believe that they maintain ownership of information. Collaborative leadership openly share information and knowledge. The 3rd one, traditional leadership sometimes listen to suggestions and ideas from their team. Collaborative leadership encourages suggestions and ideas from their team. The last one, they deliver and approve solution to their team, while the collaborative leadership facilitates brainstorming with their team. The next one, now we are trying to look at collaborative leadership in business perspective. Now you can see the leader in the middle from the slides. You can see teams, function, peers, and company. They are all focusing on the leader, and the leader is also looking up to all these various functions around the leader. Now, Ken Blanchard says that none of us is as smart as all of us. The next slide. Now we are looking at servant leadership, and the servant leadership is based on the idea that effective leaders serve their followers. Now, the characteristics of servant leader, they have a good listening skills, active listening and observing, non-verbal cues to really understand people and their needs. The other one, they have empathy. They also develop others, emotionally intelligent and aware. Servant leadership has a persuasion, big picture thinking, listen and be informed. Servant leadership also have the community development at heart. Now, the next slide. We are also looking at the servant leadership in business. And now we are trying to, when you look at this from the slides, we have the traditional leadership and servant leadership. With the traditional leadership, you can see everybody is focusing on the leader. But with the servant leadership, it's vice versa. Now, the presentation and discussion of the research findings. Now, our research findings, the paper used quantitative research, and we focus on Ghana, putting questionnaires together through Google Form to send to managers within Ghana.
Or here on the internet. That is why.
Now, in putting out these questions, we try to look at the age range as well, from 30 to 40, from 40 to 50. Now, from the questions, we also ask managers, do you ask for feedback and suggestion from employees? So from the slides, you can see 100% of managers saying yes. The next one. We also ask managers, how often do you hold strategic employees session? About 58.3% say often. The next one. Can you identify any of these leadership styles? Yes, and about 100% of managers were able to answer collaboratively. The next slide. You give others the freedom to handle difficult situations in the way you feel it is the best. Yes, managers, about 58.3% of managers agree. Now, the next slide. You sacrifice your own interest to meet others' needs. About 66.7% of managers agree with this question. You can solve work problems with new or creative ideas. About 50% of managers agree with this question. You do what you can to make others' jobs easier. About 66% agree with this question. You value honesty more than profits. About 41.7% of managers agree with this question. The next slide. Your team members, part of your decision-making process. 66.7% of managers agree with this question. Providing guidance without pressure is the key to building a good leader. About 58.3% agree with this question. I apply supportive communication within our organization. Yes, about 58.3% of managers agree with this question. Leaders need to help subordinate and accept responsibility for completing their work. About 75% agree. It is the leader's job to help subordinates find their passion. 41% of leaders agree. From these findings, the conclusion was, we can say that leadership style is dependent on an organizational structure, but collaborative and servant leadership traits are predominant almost all organizations. Various organizations adopt different styles of leadership, including transformational, transactional, democratic, and coaching, just to mention few. The implementation of a particular leadership style is influenced by the personalities and skills of the leaders or managers of an organization. Our study comes to a conclusion that the association of traits of these leadership style with other styles on significantly have a positive impact on organizational culture and performance by creating an environment of trust and boosting engagement, self-confidence, and the culture of innovation among employees. Now, recommendation. 1, for organizations to strive, an association of collaborative and servant leadership characteristics are best practices to help any organization achieve its goal. The second one, the combination of collaborative and servant leadership together with widely applied style can have a positive impact on employees by boosting their confidence, as it encourages open communication, which enables them to share their perspectives on issues affecting the organization, which will enhance employee performance and build trust. The third one, the servant leadership style helps the leaders to serve their employees, which leads to strong work ethics, engage, and high employees engagement, which enables employees to become self-motivated and are able to support the leader with creative ideas. Then the last recommendation, the combination of these different styles within an organization can enhance the overall performance of employees due to their ability to create values, build trust, encourage innovation, and provide support and mentorship and building loyalty, which are building blocks for an ideal organizational structure. This will further enhance productivity, increase employee engagement, and employee motivation. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Wow, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Team Resilient. That's a very powerful presentation, very thorough and well researched. That's a very well presented paper. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
We are winning. Whether they like it or not.
Okay, thank you very
much. Kamal, control yourself.
Thank you very much. I enjoy your excitement. But the victory lies on the eye of the judges. Now let me go back to the judges and see if any of them have a question for Team Resilient whilst Team Honesty get ready. Alrighty, so it looks like the judges have, okay, there's a hand up there. So Dr. Chibuna, please go ahead for the team.
Yes, thank you so much, Team Resilience. I was so interested in your presentation because you touched me somewhere, okay? I am a quantitative researcher. Dr. Samuel should tell you that. So I love numbers. And I think you guys use SPSS and all those to tabulate this. So I was looking at it. But I saw one thing in your presentation analysis. If you go to the slide, Dr. Samuel, just go to one of the slides of the presentation. I want to point out something.
Sure.
Please. Maybe where he did completing your work analysis. Just keep going to the next one. Yes, that one. Yes, here. Leaders need to help subordinates accept responsibility for completing their work. So in this analysis, you have strongly disagree, neutral, agree, and strongly agree. You only gave us 2. 75% says what? Agree, and 25% says strongly agree. So how many people were neutral? How many people, or how many percentage was disagree? And how many percentage strongly disagree? these percentages, these researches, these ones are completely missing in all your analysis. So if you are making a research and you have multiple number of people, so we should see them, because it's not only agree or strongly agree that you have here. So you can also go to another one. Let me give you another example. Is a question. So here, good here. So I apply supportive communication within our organization. Okay, you gave people 5 choices, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 choices. Here you have green, agree is 58.3%, right? So neutral, how many people were neutral? You gave us the pie chart here, but you didn't give us the percentage. Over here, blue is strongly disagree, 8.3%. 25% strongly agree. What happened to disagree? What happened to neutral? So if you're making a research to cover 100%, we should know the number of people that were neutral. We should know the number of people that disagree. We should know the number of people that strongly disagree. So in as much as this is very beautiful, but it does not represent the, the statistics of, based on what you showed us. This is what you showed us. So we want to make sure that, right? I don't know, but as a researcher, Dr. Sama, you agree with me, right?
I agree
Based
with
on
you.
what you are showing us here, we want to know, look at your chart here. You put neutral, but there's no percentage. So what happened here, I just pointed out, Dr. Samuel, probably next time, I'm just putting this here. Guys, I'm a teacher, so I can put anything, anytime. You give them a coach so that we can look at them, you know what I mean, and see what we do. Because this, if you are doing this, this does not represent 100% of your research. And I have problem with it. In as much as it's good and you tabulate it well, but we just want to know how many people that were neutral or how many people that disagree. Something like that. If it is yes or no, then it should be represented in your chart.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chibuna. Now, Honorable Isaka and Team Resilient, any one of you have a response? Maybe it was in your written report, I don't know. Like I said, I decided to stay away from everything because I want to be as neutral to everyone as possible. So, Isaka and Co, do you guys have a response to that?
Yes, please.
Ken, go ahead.
My name is Ken Kadra Hunlete. All the ones that the numbers are or their representation is missing in the chart are 0. So because of time, if we were mentioning all the representation in the chart, we would have stated that the ones that are not here are 0. We got 0 respondents to respond to them. So if it is not in the chart, it means that there was no direct response from the respondents.
Got you. Thank you very much. I believe in future, like Dr. Chibuna said, for coaching purposes, the presenter needs to make that clarification. You can even state that as a disclaimer, so it helps the reader when the research paper is presented. Because the fact of the matter is that the researcher presents a paper, the reader will not come to the researcher for clarification if it's reading an article in public, because he may not even know who the researcher is. But once the disclaimer is given, like you rightly said, that respondents gave 0, it will be captured in the mind and it will help the reader to make an informed decision. But overall, this is good. Thank you so much, Ken, for responding as well.
Good. And I'm also saying that in your paper that you presented, I didn't see it there. Like Dr. Samuel said, as a professor, I don't know what is in the mind of the student. The only thing that I see is what is presented on the paper. So I was just looking at it on the paper. I did not see that analysis. So next time when you are putting whatever is in your PowerPoint presentation should be reflective of what you have in your paper. Because as you guys presenting, I'm just looking at the paper too to make sure it corresponds. So I'm sorry, I was born a teacher, so I have to make sure that everything.
That is the whole purpose of
corresponds.
this learning curve, because this training and all the audience who are watching and listening from around the world also get to experience the coaching and the best practices that students from this class walk away with. Because the overall goal, like students are aware, it's not necessarily about this class, but after this class, when you get to your work and your managers and your supervisors, or if you run your own work, or those who work on campaigns, you are given an assignment, you know how to navigate so that you present quality and accurate results. Thank you, Team Resilient.